The world can change in a second. Now, off the back, that probably sounds like a pretty ridiculous claim. But did you know that in just 1 second, 2,393,470 emails are sent? 48,765 things are searched for on Google. In 1 second, 4 babies are born, 2 people die. On January 20th, 2014, I had my life-changing second. My family went to Montreal for MLK weekend. We had a great time exploring a new city that we hadn't been to. We laughed and just enjoyed being around each other. On January 20th, my parents got in the car and started their trip back to Boston, and I stayed back in Montreal with a friend. I got the phone call around 3 p.m. Their car hit a patch of ice on a rural Vermont road and spun into the lane of oncoming traffic. My dad was in stable condition, a few broken ribs and a concussion. My mom was dead. In 1 second, my life completely changed. Grief, that feeling of rage, of sorrow, of despair, it's not a distinctly Jewish emotion. It's actually one of those things that every person experiences at some point in their life. But I assert that the Jewish approach to mourning and grief can heal the world. The first mention of grief in the Torah is in Parshat Chayei Sarah. Isaac loved Rebekah and thus was able to find some comfort after his mother's death. Now, love is mentioned specifically, and this is why I think it's the basis for the Jewish mourning process. Shiva, the 7 days immediately following the burial, the mourner is immediately surrounded by love and the community. The community does prayer services, brings meals, all to the mourner's home, and lets them physically feel that they are supported. The Shloshim, the 30-day marker, the community once again comes together and studies Torah to honor the dead. After that, the mourner is encouraged to remain active in the community by being invited to say the mourner's Kaddish daily, and after that, the final, memorial is the yard site at 1 year. Reflecting on my year in mourning is still very overwhelming for me, but there are 2 main lessons that I learned. The first was how to use my grief as a source of strength as opposed to letting it weigh me down and keep me sad. The second was how to listen to people. Having lost my mother, I knew to listen to the why of why people do things that they do, instead of judging them for how they do it or how they say it or what they're doing. Now, 4 years out, or almost 4 years out, I've graduated from college. I've moved halfway across the country. I have gotten and left my first job. I've rekindled my passions for cooking, for writing, for changing the world, and hopefully becoming that professional Jew. Everyone could change the world, but you don't have to go through the pain and the sorrow that I went through. Listen to the why. Start asking people why they're doing things. Don't judge them for how they're doing it. Don't judge them how they're saying their things. Everyone has something that they're working through. And if you have lost someone, know that it gets better. I know grief can be a huge pain in the tuchus, and I'm still dealing with mine. But I assure you that grief is good. It's part of our natural healing process. Wear it as a badge of honor and a badge of pride, not as one of sadness and despair. The world can change in 1 second. We are not what happens to us in that second, but how we act the lifetime afterwards. Thank you.